Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 22, World's End.
Yeah!
So, right off the bat, we just want to remind y'all that our email episode is the episode after this one. So, if you want a chance for your email to be read on the show, get them in to agentsofnothingpodcast@gmail.com by Saturday, December 14th.
Yeah. We're very excited. I love the email episodes.
I've been intermittently checking the emails throughout this season.
Yeah.
And we've gotten some good ones.
Good. I'm so excited. Also, just wanted to... Sorry. Disclaimer, I'm very sorry if the audio is weird on my end. I moved into a new house, and also my dogs are right next to me. So, the setup here is a work in progress. Stop fighting. Why are we fighting? Okay, sorry. How was your week?
It was really good. I saw Wicked.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was everything I hoped it would be. My literal only complaint is that, like, the defying gravity scene kind of dragged. But
that's like
in the soundtrack,
that's like
it's good.
The climax of the movie, right?
Yeah. Like, they added... So the song itself is broken up by dialogue in the stage show. But they added a little bit more dialogue and some... I don't know if it's just my, like, oh, I like it the way it was, I don't want change. Or if it really did... Like, I felt like I was like, okay, get to the good part.
Yeah.
When's it gonna...
Maybe it's a little of both, you know?
Yeah. Well,
cool.
How was your week?
My week was good. Very busy. As I said, I have moved, so it was an extremely busy week. And I have been very, very sore. But today I'm learning just how old 29 feels, because I had like a total of 2 drinks yesterday. My coworker is moving to another location, so we like grabbed drinks after work, and so I had like a beer and a Jell-O shot. And today I feel so hungover. I wasn't even drunk, and so I'm mad at my body right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, otherwise doing great.
All right, are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Okay, season finale.
Woohoo!
This episode was written by Jeffrey Bell and directed by Billy Gearhart.
All right. So we don't meet any new characters, obviously. It's the finale. We start off with my beautiful, perfect, incredible Robbie. Just hard eyes from the very first second. Also, I felt like this episode was so, like, it was so fast-paced. I was, like, trying to keep up. So much happened. Okay, so, Coulson and May kind of start to have the talk that they've been really needing to have, but they decide that they're gonna get a new bottle of Haig so that Coulson can explain why he drank their special bottle. And we're not looking forward to this conversation, but we are a little bit because it needs to happen. But it's gonna be not fun. Fitz is like elbow deep in guilt, and Simmons is trying to like kind of coach him through all of his emotions so that they can find a solution for their current problem. But Fitz isn't even sure that Ada can be killed, and he can't even say that he would want to if they could. Although he clearly changes his mind. But, yeah. That poor Fitz. He's just in such a tough place.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Because, like, even if it wasn't real, that was a person that he loved.
Yeah. And it's like a lifetime of memories too. Like even if it's not who he is here, it was real to him. Anyway. Elena is in the framework, and in order to help her, Daisy is trying to like code a trail for Radcliffe to follow, and she just leaves him yo-yos everywhere. A trail of yo-yos for him to follow to find Elena, strapped to her gurney, and he barely makes it in time before some random guy, whoever the fuck that was, shoots her. She immediately asks Radcliffe to take her to Mac, but he makes her look around. Like, Ada is in the process of shutting down the framework, and they do not have much time left here. Yeah.
For the framework setting, the production team chose a specific, more washed-out palette to clearly differentiate those scenes from the real world. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah.
This is one of the... I did go and look on the overall Season 4 Wikipedia for some fun facts, because, again, the fun facts were sparse, but I got a few good ones.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so for the framework setting, the production team chose a more washed-out palette to clearly differentiate those scenes from the real world. This was realized through a combination of production and costume design and cinematography.
I did notice that, because I was like, there were, especially with the scene towards the end when they're like stuck in traffic on the bridge, like the second it switched, I was like, I know exactly where we are, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of Ada, in the real world, she is choking Ivanov real hard. It's a little kinky. And he is laughing at the irony of her regretting so many of her own decisions after building an entire world to get rid of the regrets of others. Ada says that her goal now is to burn this world to the ground, and she wants S.H.I.E.L.D. to suffer greatly. Especially Fitz. Again, as if he's not already suffering. His whole life has been suffering, honestly.
Yeah.
But just then, the fucking Ghost Rider himself screeches into their warehouse and says he's after the Darkhold. Ada looks at him smugly until he starts, like, very easily taking down her Russian robots. And then he whips his fire chain at her and wounds her before he realizes that she's no longer an android herself. So she tries to fight back with her powers, but it just makes, like, the flames grow higher and his demon face comes out. So she just blips out with the book before Robbie can grab it.
So Ghost Rider was designed by Marvel Television creative director Joshua Shaw, based on Philippe Smith's design from the comics. His jacket was then custom made by costume designer Anne Foley and her team. The character's skull design includes exhaust-type jets of flames coming from the temples to mimic the effects on his car. Foley worked with the visual effects department to ensure that the costume would not interfere with their work.
Cool. It was a really cool design.
Yeah. I love his jacket. Like,
yeah.
It's iconic.
I would wear that.
Absolutely. She's like a cat. And then I think this is where they showed the title card.
Yeah.
In the episode. So each pod of the season introduces new title graphics for the series, a Hellfire-based title card for Ghost Rider, a graphic constructed from robot circuitry for LMD, and a more traditional Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. logo for the third pod that changes on screen to Agents of Hydra for episodes primarily set in the framework, but remains Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the return. The Ghost Rider title card was used again for the season finale.
Very cool. Yeah, I really love all the title cards. I think it's such a like small but like really cool way to let you know like what's going on, and like kind of where you're at in the journey. Get down! Oh my god.
For those not watching on the cameras on our Zoom call, Caroline's dog Penny keeps climbing up on the top of the sofa.
She's deciding that right now is the time to treat the new house like a jungle gym. Not like the past 5 days that we've been here. Right now. Anyway, okay, moving on. So Simmons is updating Coulson on the dire situation in the framework and that they have less than a day before it goes down completely. And there's no guarantee that Mac and Yo-Yo will make it out alive, even with Fitz and Daisy's help. And then, immediately, General Talbot calls to tell Coulson that he has to be in 2 places at once, apparently, because the UN, or whoever, wants to question S.H.I.E.L.D. about Talbot's lies. So I'm like, why does Coulson even need to be there? He didn't make up this story about Jeff and all of his powers and stuff.
Yeah, you defend your own lies, Glenn.
Clean up your own mess. So Coulson says, sorry, we have a vanishing banshee to take care of. And Talbot says, that doesn't exist. And Coulson's like, I have a cybernetic hand and I've been to space. This shit happens in S.H.I.E.L.D. And then he hangs up, which, good for him. Boundaries. Daisy, then immediately Daisy has found out that Robbie is alive, and so she's like on her way out to go find him. So she finds him still at Ada's warehouse.
So when talking with Robbie, Daisy refers to him going into a hellmouth. This is a term from Joss Whedon's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In it, Buffy's town is said to stand on a hellmouth. So, is that... I didn't look it up. Is hellmouth a term that they made up?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah. No, they didn't make that up. No. Giving Joss Whedon more credit than he deserves.
Come on. He probably said that he made it up. Just because he didn't look it up.
But as my personal note here was, I love them together so much. I wish it was canon. The chemistry is off the charts.
Truly. Every time they look at each other, I was like, are we gonna... Are they gonna... And then they did it, and I'm really mad.
Ugh.
I'm like, I'm supposed to be living vicariously through you, Daisy. Can we please?
I know. What's the point of a main character if she's not gonna fuck the character I want to fuck?
Jesus. She just fucks Ward and nobody else? Come on. Anyway. So Robbie explains that his demon and Ada are both, like, born of the Darkhold, or, like, made of dark matter or whatever. So when Ada became real, she left a tear between worlds that Robbie was able to get through. And the Ghost Rider hates Ada more than anything. Coulson is like, we feel the same way too. So he is, like, drawn to her like a GPS and has the power to actually destroy her. Which is so, like, where the fuck has he been this whole season?
Robbie, we needed you.
May also just saved one of the LMD heads that Robbie cut off so that they can try and ID the person that Ada replaced.
So, not at this part, but when this guy first showed up, when he was with Ada and the Russian and whoever else was in that warehouse or whatever, I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Truly. They gave
Where did he come from?
A weird amount of screen time. Speaking of Ada, her arm is not healing. So clearly, Robbie's got a very good chance to kill her. He just needs a clean shot, basically. And Ada's cronies tell her that they are going to recreate the framework in this world in order to please her. Or they say they're going to recreate the other world in order to please her. The fuck? Back in the framework, Radcliffe brings Elena to the base, and she watches Mac, like, giving orders to get people to safety. Radcliffe says to let him talk to Mac first, since he won't recognize Elena yet. But Mac doesn't really want to talk to Radcliffe either. So then Elena meets Hope, and she understands why Mac made this choice. But she's obviously not ready to give up yet. More of the framework is disappearing, like, every second, and it's manifesting as, like, weapons and luggage vanishing. So Mac hurries everyone along and says that they have to leave immediately. I'm not sure where they think they're going.
I know, because only Mac knows at this point.
Yeah.
That there's, well, no, technically Trip is still there, but off screen, I presume.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, they think that, I don't know what they think. Like,
there's, like, we gotta get out of town.
What would we think? Like, what would we do if things just started disappearing around us? Like, we're looking at the weapons and then they're gone.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I would do. I would, like, go to bed. I'd be like, I don't know. There's nothing to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway. So, S.H.I.E.L.D. realizes that the Russian LMD is, like, a diplomat that's been invited to the inquiry today. And guess who he's bringing with him? Ivanov, obviously. At the inquiry, the LMDs accuse S.H.I.E.L.D. of breeding and weaponizing Inhumans and all of the things that Hydra was doing in the framework. And they offer for everyone to look in the Darkhold to see the truth.
I absolutely did not get the joke that Talbot says when he says, "What is this L. Ron horse crap?" Until this viewing, I did not get it.
I don't get it.
It's L. Ron Hubbard is the founder of Scientology.
Oh, okay. I just heard horse crap and I was like, you got it. Nail on the head. Um, anyway, so before they can go further, Daisy, barges in and shoots Talbot in the head. Oh my god.
I knew it was coming, but it was still very jarring.
Truly. They so rarely, like... Well... never mind. I was gonna say they so rarely kill people on the show, but yes, they do. Anyway, the real S.H.I.E.L.D. team are also, like, already here and chasing after the fake Daisy, and Coulson and May show up to get rid of the Russians, who run away and leave the Darkhold on the floor. Cowards. But Talbot's assistant says that he's still breathing, though, so good sign.
So for the Darkhold, we already kind of know, like, half of this, but I'm going to read it anyway.
Okay.
For the Darkhold. For the Darkhold, writer Leila Zuckerman suggested that the book's cover should feature the word Darkhold as an ambigram, with the series props department designing a new font to achieve this. Prop master Scott Bauer was inspired by elements from the Kree weaponry designed for the previous season when designing the cover of the Darkhold.
Ooh.
Multiple versions of the book were created for the show, with the frames created by 3D printing molds to create durable rubber casts. These were then given to a bookbinder with aged vellum pages, who assembled the props and created the leather cover. The pages were filled with text and illustrations inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man.
Cool. I love these kinds of fun facts.
I know you do.
That was such a fun fact. So the inquiry team is ready to blame S.H.I.E.L.D. and tell the world that Daisy Johnson shot Talbot. So Coulson and May get the hell out of there. And they just miss Daisy and Robbie's incredible teamwork. I want to see them fighting together so much more. Among other things. I want to see them do lots of things together, but...
I don't know why they had Robbie take an LMD's eye out with a...
That was so gross.
Oh my god. Putting that 10 p.m. Eastern airtime to good use.
Truly. They were like, the kids have gone to bed. We are plucking eyes out, okay? And then Ada gets away again, obviously, because there's still so much time left in the episode. And then I said, damn, this episode is moving quick. As it was. We're only like halfway through and like so much has happened.
I know.
So Coulson, May, Daisy, and Robbie regroup on the Zephyr. And they figure out that Ada wants to use the same tactics from the framework in the real world to get everyone to hate Inhumans.
To hate Inhumans? Oh my god. That's a different story.
To get everyone to hate Inhumans. And she's using Daisy as her fear-mongering monster. Coulson wants to use the Darkhold as bait to draw Ada in, but Robbie is not going to let the thing out of his sight. And Ada is terrified of Robbie and probably won't come anywhere near him. So Coulson has an idea, and he needs everyone on the same page, even Fitz and Simmons, regardless of the massive pile of shit that they have to work through. But we're heading back to the S.H.I.E.L.D. base. He was so cryptic about this idea.
I love the kind of thing where the characters know the plan, but you don't know the plan.
Yeah. For sure.
And I also love the thing where you know what's going to happen, but the characters don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. We love secrets.
Secrets and lies.
So, back in the framework, Mac and his refugees are stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic across the bridge out of town, and Elena tries to talk to him herself this time.
So, my personal note here, because Elena was like, let me talk to him this time. He'll remember me. And I said, Yo-Yo, no he fucking won't. This has been explained to you.
She was like, he's gonna just see me and just know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Not to compare love stories, but if Fitzsimmons...
Truly.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Fitzsimmons. You're absolutely right. 100%.
What makes you think that your love is like the thing that's gonna break through? It's so cocky. I love Yo-Yo. I love her. But like it's very presumptuous.
The dogs agree. Hey, shut up. Penny, stop. Nobody's even out there. A dog walked by like 10 minutes ago. Anyway, okay. Sorry. Chill. Penny, chill out. You're fine. It's fine. Okay. Max says that he remembers her name from what Daisy told him, but he doesn't remember her. So she tries to explain that she had hoped seeing her face would remind him, wasn't there? That's a song. Hope you see my face, and that you be reminded of me.
It isn't over. Something like that.
Penny, stop. Lay down. Thank you. Anyway. She had hoped that seeing her face would remind him of the life that they were building together, of the love that they have for each other in the real world. But as she's talking, more of this world is disappearing. And then all of the people on the bus, except for Mac, Yo-Yo, Radcliffe, and Hope, have all disappeared as well. Radcliffe guesses that Fitz found a way to stall their demises specifically, but that they don't have much time.
Speaking of presumptuous, it's like assuming that it's entirely Fitz. Like, it is partially Fitz.
Yeah.
And granted, Radcliffe doesn't know the others that well. He might not even know that Daisy's a hacker.
True.
But anyways.
I think he just is more like choosing to believe. He's like, I know Fitz is capable of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, back in the real world, May gives Coulson some pushback on something, I don't remember what. And oh, there's a guy walking around across the street. So May gives Coulson some pushback, and he says, Robot May was a lot more supportive. Holy fuck, Coulson. That is an awful thing to say. I was shocked that he would say something like that.
And it was played as a joke.
And I don't even, I would have slapped him. And he would have deserved it. That was so mean.
I liked you better when you weren't you.
Yeah, literally.
Excuse me?
I liked you better when you were manipulating me. Anyway, May says that she doesn't want to have a talk, but that maybe they should do it now since they don't know if they're going to make it out alive again. Daisy and Robbie are with Mac and Elena, or their physical bodies. And Daisy is like explaining the framework and how awful it was. And then she tests the water a little bit and says that wherever Robbie was, it was probably way worse. And I love the way that he's like, yeah, it was. He doesn't need to have been in the framework to know.
Yeah.
But he says that he at least didn't have to like do anything himself. He was just kind of along for the ride while Ghost Rider fought and killed, which sounds awful. But then they almost have a moment when suddenly Fitz tells Daisy on the comms that it's time.
My note here was, what the fuck? This scene between Daisy and Robbie is like not even subtext.
Truly.
They are for sure having a moment.
Yes. If Fitz hadn't interrupted right then, they would have made out. 100%.
Over Mac and Elena's unconscious forms.
So when Fitz gives Daisy the signal, she builds a backdoor exit for Mac and Elena and can only hope that Elena can convince Mac to use it. Fitz and Simmons are doing something in some room with a lot of computer screens. I don't know where they are. And Fitz asks if she locked the door, and Simmons says, "Of course, what do you think I am?" And then Ada appears and says, "I think you're dead." Kind of an iconic entrance, though. Like, I gotta give it to her. In the framework at Mac's house, Elena and Radcliffe are talking alone, and he's trying to convince her to save herself and leave Mac to his own decisions. But she says that she'll drag him out if she has to. Radcliffe says if she does that, Mac may never forgive her for forcing him to abandon his daughter. He'll never forgive himself. Elena says that she can't believe that she's going to lose him in the real world, all for a little girl that doesn't even exist, who isn't real. And, yep, Hope was right behind her the whole time. And that was really harsh, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like if I was a little kid and I heard that, I'd be like, what?
I'm not real?
What do you mean?
Oh my god. And like when she was crying and saying like, I want to be real. I want to be real.
Yeah. I know. Absolutely heartbreaking. Back in the real world, Fitz tries to talk Ada down again and like keep her away from Simmons. And he even offers to go with her. But we're past this apparently. She says that she just wants to make him suffer like she has suffered. And then she turns around and she takes the knife that Simmons was hiding and then stabs her in the chest. Oh my god, Simmons! All the cuts in this episode were crazy. Coulson is finally telling May what happened with her duplicate and how he wasn't sure how much of it was real and how much was manipulation. May admits that some of it may have been from her, and so Coulson admits that he had some feelings for her too. And so they decide that if they make it out alive, they're going to start over and maybe open another bottle when it feels right. And then they split up, and I'm very scared. But actually them splitting up was fine. But I don't know why. That's the thing that I'm like, oh my god, they're dying. Someone's not making it out.
Is that like PTSD from Supernatural or something?
Maybe. So Ada keeps twisting the knife in Simmons' chest while Fitz begs her to stop. He offers everything that comes to his mind. He even tells her where the Darkhold is. And Simmons whispers that he did this. And I was like, okay, that's not Simmons. I said, okay, this is a plan though, right? Because they were using the Darkhold as bait anyway. This isn't real. Simmons is fine. Right? Right. Ada finds Coulson at the gate and does her whole, like, villain speech about how they can't stop her and Robbie isn't here. And Coulson says that she really should learn one basic human concept. Teamwork. That's what I fucking thought. Fitz wipes away his tears, which was so funny. I don't know why that was so funny to me. But he wipes away his tears and then leaves the Simmons LMD on the floor, while the real Simmons burns quite a few bullets into Ada from behind. And she says that she knew it wouldn't kill her. She just really wanted to do it. And then Coulson turns into the Ghost Rider. Oh my god.
Coulson Ghost Rider!
I did not expect that one. For a second I was like, can the Ghost Rider... I was like, oh, he can just, like, change shape and, like, be other people. But no, he does still have to, like, possess somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he latches onto Ada as she, like, blips around trying to shake him off until he finally gets a grip on her and then burns her to ash right in front of Fitz and Simmons. And Fitz still does look kind of conflicted, but Coulson turns back into himself and then says that Ada really is dead. Which was like, it was honestly a little bit anticlimactic. I was like, that was it? Like, that was all we needed?
It made sense, like, that Robbie would be, like, the only person to be able to take her down, but it feels almost kind of like a... not a cop-out.
Yeah, just, like, too easy. Just, like,
like, oh, that was... oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was expecting a much more elaborate thing, but it was just like, oh, he just showed up. And he's exactly who we need. Perfect. And then he just does it. And it goes right.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say something, but I'll save it until later.
Okay. So Hope runs to Mac crying about what Elena said. And he's furious with Elena, but they don't really have time to argue about it because the back door has appeared in the living room. Max sits down with Hope on the couch and repeats to Elena what he said to Daisy, that he won't live in a world without Hope, and the only person that he cares about is in this room. So Elena sits down too and says that the only person that she cares about is in this room too. And then Radcliffe is like, am I the only sane person here? The mad scientist? As more things disappear, the wind starts whipping around them, and Hope disappears from Mac's arms, and then he falls into Elena, and they just, like, cry together. Oh my god.
I'm so glad I was wearing waterproof mascara, because I was not okay.
Yeah. That was a really rough one. Ugh. So, then Daisy watches as she suddenly can't see Mac in the code anymore. But then Elena and finally Mac both wake up and everybody's okay. Coulson thanks Robbie alone for agreeing to the plan and comments that he doesn't know how Robbie handles feeling that demon 24/7. Robbie says that the demon only agreed to the deal for one reason and asks if Coulson is going to tell the others. What? Coulson says he will when it's time, and he asks Robbie not to tell either. What? Actually, I don't like secrets. I need to know what's going on.
I forgot what I was initially going to say about this, but what I will say is that by the time this resolves, you will have forgotten that this conversation happened.
Great. Perfect. Okay, so I'm only going to understand this when I rewatch it after we finish this podcast.
No, I'll remind you.
Okay.
And they'll explain it.
It's just going to be a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So Yo-Yo apologizes to Mac for trying to pull him away from Hope. But Mac says that there's nothing to forgive. He gets the memories of years of being Hope's father, and he also knows that, like, he wants to build a life like that in the real world with Yo-Yo, and he knows that he can now. Which is very cute.
I was so moved by the idea that, how do I word this? That the memories of those years of being, like, that's time that he wouldn't have gotten with her otherwise.
Yeah.
And instead of it being like a terrible thing that he lost her, or that she wasn't real, like that it's like a blessing that he got to have that.
Yeah.
I'm tearing up right now, like, thinking about it.
That is it's such a sweet way to think about it. And I think that is it's a testament to, like, Mac's growth, because I feel like he was stuck for so long, and, like, instead of, like, he was stuck in regret for so long, and even though, like, everybody else's regrets that got taken away in the framework didn't really work out very well, he still gets to kind of think of it as a gift, and, like, to know what would have happened, you know?
Yeah.
So Robbie takes the book back where it belongs, and he's learned some new tricks since he was last topside. He can create his own portals now. And then he makes a cryptic comment to Coulson, and then a longing look at Daisy. A
very long longing look.
Very, very long longing look. And then he steps through his portal, and I miss him already.
So the interdimensional portal that Robbie opens with his Hellfire chain at the end uses the same effect as the portals in Doctor Strange.
I thought they looked familiar.
How wild would it be if Robbie was, like, at Comatage or whatever?
That would be so crazy, actually.
If he just, like, learned the mystic arts while he was gone.
Wow. I feel like he kind of wouldn't need to, though, because he has the demon.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Mac and Elena join the rest of the team to say that they just heard on the radio that Talbot is alive, but in a coma, I think, and the military is heading this way, so they gotta skedaddle. Fitz offers to stay behind and take the blame for everything, since the LMDs and Ada were his project to begin with, not S.H.I.E.L.D.'s. But Daisy gives him a pep talk, a beautiful pep talk, about what she learned when she isolated herself from the team for their own so-called protection. And she says that she just lost herself, and Fitz was the one who brought her back. She tells him that no one on this team blames him for what happened, and that they are sticking together. I loved this speech.
It was beautiful. Again, I was so glad I was wearing waterproof mascara.
May says that whatever the price, they will pay it together, and then everyone chimes in with their agreement. This was like, it felt like they thought that the series was going to end here, because it was like giving finale. Like, we learned so much over this season.
Yeah. I think that they had actually just been renewed for 2 more seasons or something like that. But yeah, like, I feel like they're just really good at finales.
Maybe so.
I don't know. They just have a way of bringing everything together.
Yeah.
And there's like very few, if any, loose ends.
Yeah. Well, I guess because like, while the show isn't over, this chapter is. And like,
yeah.
I guess in that way, it is like a finale, and like in that way more than just a season finale, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It was like, it served as a finale not just to the Agents of Hydra pod, but to like all 3 pods.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it was like an overarching finale. Okay, we're done.
We're done.
Anyway.
So Radcliffe is about to enjoy a drink on the beach at sunset. He is the last being in the framework. And he says, "What is immortality without my beloved Agnes?" I love his growth too. And then just before he can take a sip, he's gone.
Radcliffe's final words are from the T.S. Eliot poem, The Hollow Men. "This is the way the world ends, not with a bang, but a whimper." Radcliffe does not finish the line.
Yeah. Aw. Taylor Swift Eliot. That's who it is. Sorry. Coulson suggests that they get a bite to eat before they're locked away forever, which was very random, but okay. So they all go sit at the bar of this diner, and then just as the server is listing off the dessert options, the power goes out, and then a group of armed soldiers enter, and the whole team just slowly puts their hands in the air. And then yet another mysterious bald man, Mac, turns on some weird device and then says, "The window closes in 2 minutes. Take them." What the fuck?
So regarding the season finale and setting up the next season, Bell said that each year we've tried to reinvent the series in some way. I think the end of the finale really does suggest something quite different.
Yeah. For sure. I'm very confused. Now I'm like, okay, what's real? I don't know what's real anymore. Anyway. So now it's time for the post-content content. Coulson wakes up in a dingy gray bed. He puts on his shoes and then flips a switch to open the window and watches as a fucking asteroid shield floats by. Asteroid field. And then he says, "All right, Phil, that's enough sightseeing. Back to work." What the fuck is going on? Oh my god, I'm so confused.
I'm so excited for next season, dude.
God. He's kind of hot, though. I like him in his boots.
So, one final, well, not final, but this episode is dedicated to the memory of Powers Booth, who portrayed Gideon Malik in Marvel's The Avengers and in the 3rd season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and passed away 2 days before this episode's original airing.
Aw. I guess we're never going to see Malik again. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Malik was dead.
Yeah.
Like, very dead.
He was super dead.
Okay,
Anyway.
do you have any overall thoughts?
Just a lot of confusion. But also, like, it's a solid season finale. Like, this was a really good finale. I like that everything kind of came back together, like all of the different parts of the season all culminated.
Yeah.
It definitely, I think because of that, it felt like very fast paced. I definitely was like, I gotta keep up. But really good. I miss Robbie already. But that's all.
All right. I've got some Lanyap fun facts for you, for your ears. So this is the first season finale since season 1 to not be aired as a 2-part episode.
Oh, wow.
This is the first season finale to be written by Jeffrey Bell as opposed to Marissa Tancherone and Jed Whedon.
Okay. Wait, okay. It not being a 2-part episode actually makes more sense as to why it felt so fast-paced. Because they were like, we're doing it all in one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. That would make sense.
Yeah.
So this, in the overall fun facts for season 4, this fun fact was alongside Robbie's fun fact about his design.
Okay.
Ada's costume was also custom made and inspired by the works of Alexander McQueen.
Ooh.
The costume evolves through the season, becoming a darker shade of gray when the more ruthless Ada 2.0 is introduced.
Yeah.
And then this one is also about costumes and partially about Ada's costume as well. Mm-hmm. Anne Foley left the show after the 13th episode of this season. Sorry, Bluetooth keeps stopping. Let me start over. Anne Foley left the show after the 13th episode of the season to work on a television adaptation of Altered Carbon and was replaced with Amanda Riley. Riley used her previous experience recreating costumes to blend in with Foley's established look, and also noted that the majority of her work was designing for the framework reality, which allowed her to not exactly match with the previous designs. Riley took Foley's costumes for Ada as the base shape of the Madam Hydra costume, but looked to make it feel stronger and more military-esque than those costumes by having the shoulders of the costume evoke epaulettes? What the fuck is that? Google, be my friend. An ornamental shoulder piece on an item of clothing, especially on the coat or jacket of a military uniform. Okay. The costume also uses the color green, which is closely tied with the character in the comics.
Cool. That's cool. I feel like Riley got to take over at a really good time then, actually.
Yeah.
To kind of get to blend in, but also be able to make their own mark and, like, do something a little bit new and different.
Yeah. For sure. And now we have a bear fact.
Yay! Bear! Our fave. Our good friend.
The season saw several major creative turning points in the score from composer Bear McCreary. Given the introduction of the ghostwriter and the framework in the season, McCreary used searing synths over the regular symphonic orchestra.
Searing synths. Ooh. Love that. Don't tell Taylor Swift
Beautiful.
about that.
Listen.
I'm just kidding.
Bring back live instruments in Taylor's music, though. Like,
yeah.
2025, I want electric guitar in a Taylor Swift song.
Please.
Anyways, in March 2017, Marvel re-released previous posters for the series, updated to show what they would have looked like had the series taken place in the framework reality. Ooh. I could not find those posters.
Damn.
But they also released 6 faux propaganda posters highlighting Hydra's surveillance state within the framework and their focus on hunting Inhumans, which is in the drive.
Cool. I'm looking at them now. Oh. Where Hydra thrives, you thrive. That's horrifying. Inhuman, intolerable. That's kind of funny. Oh, the camera and everything. Oh, wow. Okay, suspect it, report it. Damn.
Yeah.
Don't even need proof. Ew. Harboring one betrays all. Shit, dude.
Yeah.
Those
horrific. Are like very, very strong, like, propaganda statements.
Yeah. Inhuman intolerable is pretty pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Cool.
All right.
Very cool.
Well, that concludes our episode on Season 4, Episode 22, World's End.
That's it.
It's been such a good season.
It really has.
Next time, we will be reading listener emails, so stay tuned for that.
I'm so excited. Okay, bye.
Bye. Love you.